Did you post a link yet? To your bot?
To the video, yeah, it should be. I think it's Amumu against Evelyn. Yeah.
Alright. Whichever do you play on? I can look at the OBGG first before we jump into the bot. Probably see it from here.
You want me to post the OPGG?
Let's see. I can actually find it here. Heel slot Miranda. Is that right?
Yeah.
Which server? US, the UNE?
It's EUNE.
Right. Heel slot Miranda. That's an interesting name. Oh, you reached
I used to
gold.
play a support.
Okay, okay. You've been playing Amumu a lot. I like that. Most of the games of Amumu, I really like that. Yep, just stick to a small champion pool. Let's see, also playing some Zyra jungle. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting pick. Yep. I'm most of all good.
Like I feel like I'm performing the best on Amumu, and I don't have like another champion that I would feel like is the same as him, which is like a problem for me. So I usually do like Karthus, Lily, or Zyra.
So the Mumu champion identity in the jungle is it's basically a CC initiating tank jungler. So if you look for kind of similar junglers, that would be something like Maokai, Sejuani. So the reason why you want to kind of look for junglers inside your own pool's champ identity is because it makes it easier for you to kind of like transfer over. Because obviously, if you start playing something like karthus, for example, karthus champion identity on the other hand, it's a farm scale be really scary in team fights later on in the game. It's like a so you can see how the champion identity between this champion is like completely different between Amumu and karthus.
Yeah.
Karthus is the gank jungler. He's the one who wants to build tank. He kind of wants to be the front line. Karthus on the other hand, he's like on the opposite side of the spectrum. He wants to be the one as far away from the fight and just be able to deal as much damage as possible. So if you want to kind of diverse your champion pool, you want to initially just kind of look for champs in the same like category. So CC initiating tank junglers. But on the other hand, then again, the other argument here is that if you only play that one role, then it's kind of like if the team already picked like something like Sion and Galio, then it can be kind of like dumb to even play kind of another initiating jungler, you know?
Yeah, like less damage in the team as a whole.
Yeah. So if you want to diversify your champion pool, yeah, you can probably add something like I probably wouldn't recommend Zyra at all. It's kind of an off-meta pick to begin with, but yeah, I mean Amumu is kind of the other side of the spectrum. But again, the point here is that if you the best way for you to improve is to kind of like stick to what you know. So that's the CC initiation kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah, I played. I really don't like Maokai. Like I feel like I don't know. Like I feel like with Amumu I can always shut down some. I I feel like the biggest problem for me is the like assassins getting really ahead and then like shutting them down. I feel like Amumu has that kind of under control because I can always like stun, ult,
Yep.
and stun again. And with Maokai, I feel like it's much like smaller, uh, much smaller. How do you call it?
I don't know, but I know what you mean. So you don't feel that you can peel as well when you're playing Maokai compared to
Yeah.
Amumu. Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, yeah. I still think Maokai is a really good peeler. He's really good at peeling. Maokai is actually one of the champions I play a lot on my main recently. Obviously, he's been really high meta, or high priority in the meta. Don't look at my nearest Maokai loss, but see. So yeah, I mean, basically the way I play Maokai is I play tank jungle as well. I like to look for those ults, those big ults. Kind of the same thing you look for when you are playing Mumu. So So yeah, there's kind of two schools of thoughts when you think about like diversifying a champ pool, but you will have easier time switching champions inside the same kind of subclass you're already playing, or you already have like champion mastery on, which is the Mumu. But how I think about champion pool is just it's like if you find something you want to play, or if you find something you really like to play, for example, even if you like playing the Syra, again, I wouldn't recommend you to play Syra, but if
Yeah.
you really want to play Syra, just play Syra. But the thing is, play a lot of Syra. Okay, so we just want to kind of like get good champion, like kind of like keep leveling up the champion mastery. So champion mastery is really important, especially when we talking about this mid to lower MMR ranges. Is that like knowing your champion well and knowing what you want to do and knowing what you can do is really, really important, right? Champion
Yeah,
mastery is really
I
important.
used to be a person who like switched the characters a lot. So like I played one round of that and then switched to
Yep.
another. And then I like when I started caring about like climbing the rank, I stick to like certain characters. And now like I in this season I have like around 90 games on amumu, and I feel like when it's banned or picked, I am kind of like afraid of picking something else. Like I feel like I'm already losing because I'm playing something that I know much less than
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So that's what we talk about when we talk about champion master being important. So it's a big confidence key as well. I'm just gonna add it here. It's a big thing about confidence. Confidence in your confidence in your champion and execution with it. So so again, if you want to switch champions, just don't feel too pressured to be like if you for example arrive to a situation where you're like, oh, I'm really feeling like I'm a mumu in real life when I play a mumu, like it's just fucking depressing, I just don't want to do that. Then it's like don't be like too scared of switching up your champion pool or like switching up your champ. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to do like these random games of like one champ and then drop them off, you know?
Yeah, usually when it's like one game, it's because he was banned or taken. So
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
why.
Yep. So that's why you want to have at least so that's why we want to have at least like 3 to 5 champion pool, for example. But
Yeah,
again,
to
like
have something to fall back on.
yeah, yeah. But exactly, for example, if you don't have a lot of champion mastery on like any champion besides a Mumu, so again, we come back to this champion identity, and we want to pick like champions from the same identity. So we could think like sejuani, maokai. So you, even though you still don't like know how this champion acts, or you don't have as much mastery on them. So let's say a Mumu is banned, you still kind of know, you still want to do kind of the same things as you want to do on a Mumu. So it's
Mhm.
easier for you to like kind of like transfer to those champions, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Sejuani, Maokai. What else fucking tank junglers are there, actually? I can't think of any.
I mean, I guess
Zach.
Shen, but
Yeah,
oh
Shen is
yeah,
not really a
Zach
jungler,
for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so these kind of all fall into the same category as a Mumu. So yeah, so if a Mumu is banned and you have nothing else to pick, like maybe just like pick something from this list. There's Johnny Maokai, Mumu. They kind of do the same stuff as well, yeah.
Yeah.
So they go melee range. They want to really like target on one guy to help your teammate kill them, stuff like that.
Previously, when I played like before this season, basically, when I played jungle, I played Lily or Kindred, but like I'm terrible at like being AD carry, so Kindred is not very good, and I much prefer the tankiness of like the Amumu
Mhm.
over Lilia, even if you build her with the Jack Show.
Yep. Yep. So that's again, yeah. Lilia again falls into a bit different category. She's kind of like a tanky damage dealer. So again, like she's not in your niche basically.
Yeah,
Your niche is this Sejuani Maokai Sakamomo. So yeah, again, like if you want to like add these new champions into your pool, for example, what I recommend people to do is to have a champion pool of like 3 to 5 champions they like playing, or like they can fall back on if some like if your main champ is banned, or like it's a really bad game for a Momo or something like that.
yeah.
I'm just gonna add it here as well. Try to form a pool of 3 to 5 champions. Easier to pick up champs from same identity category. Try to find pool of 3 to 5 champion. Champion mastery is really important. Confidence in champion. If you want to switch champion, focus on those champions. So yeah, this goes back to so if you do want to pick karthus, for example, the karthus, just play a lot of karthus. Spam the fuck out of karthus. you know.
Okay.
So then you can kind of like, for example, when you have played like 20 games of karthus, for example, and the Mumu gets banned, and you pick karthus, then you kind of like already know like, okay, I'm not playing a Mumu right now. What do I want to do with this? Oh, I have played 20 games of this. I already kind of know what I want to do. Got these at the top as well. Oh, not like that. Yep. So yeah, that's pretty much about the champ pool. Just don't be too afraid of like setting yourself back and picking up a new champion. Basically, the main thing I think about is just like uh, the main focus. I think you want to have fun. You want to have fun playing your champion, especially like when we are talking about like for example, what's your goal right now in terms of climbing?
Well, I would like to get to platinum, but yeah, I am not sure if my like knowledge is there to get there. But like this is the goal.
Yep. Okay. I think that is manageable. Yeah, I think that's a manageable expectation as well. Like going up a entire league in a season is it can be hard again, but like I think it's still like doable. For example, a lot of people have something like, "Oh, I want to go from gold to fucking diamond." Like then it's like getting like we are kind of getting ahead of ourselves. So it's really important to keep those manageable expectations for ourselves, so we don't get too discouraged if we don't or if we don't like really see that like instant improvement constantly. Because the way I think about league, for example, we are in February, early February. You're gold 4. Like it's definitely doable. You might be plat before the season ends. So think of
Yeah.
think of like think of soloq as a marathon. So that's another thing why I like this is the moment when you kind of want to start to think about your champion choices as well, because you have this amumu here, like really strong pick. You have a really good win rate. You're really good at amumu at the moment. So when Amumu is banned, okay, what do I do now? Then you start picking like Lilia, 30% win rate. Karthus actually doing pretty well. But like so just kind of like start to think about what you want to be, what you want to play, what kind of junglers do I really enjoy, and just like kind of start focusing on them as well. So, for example, let's say you climb the gold 1, you're kind of in your plat promos, Amumu gets banned. Oh no, you know, you want to have
Yeah.
something to fall back on. Yep, manageable expectations. So yeah, another thing here is that about the solo queue marathon kind of thing is that you're obviously in a pretty good streak right now. We have a good history, but there are moments. There will be moments when you be like a really rough patch. You go like 6 losses in a row, and you're like, oh no, no. It doesn't mean that you are getting worse at the game. It's just like part of the process. You have to. You can't just constantly climb. So again, like have manageable expectations and just like about your improvement as well as your like ultimate goal.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can just move on to the what next. I think Colin, which this one?
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah. This one.
yeah, I actually have it already here. Okay. Against Evelyn. So what do you think your strengths and weaknesses are right now in the jungle?
So I feel like getting the it depends on what you mean is as a like a jungler generally
No,
or in this on this in this matchup that is
no, like
in the
let's just talk about like in general first before we move on to the game. So like, what do you think you need to improve on at the moment? Like what have you?
I think my biggest like problem is when I get behind. It's it's really I feel like I'm at my best when I have the demonic embrace and Jack show, and that's when I can totally like do stuff in the team fights, and like when I catch, I don't immediately get blown up.
Yep.
and that's my strongest. But like getting there when I fall behind is really hard. Like sometimes it's there are games where for example, I gank someone, I get counter ganked, and me and the laner both die. Then like I get invaded or something happens, and or I'm already like 0-2, and it's hard for me to take camps. Like for sometimes it's like the laners take my camps, and I am like I don't know what to do in those situations.
Okay. I mean, yeah, this season it's definitely a lot harder for your laners to start taking your camp since they are made a lot tankier. But yeah, so yeah, basically you don't feel comfortable playing or fulfilling your champion identity, which is here the CC initiation, the tank jungler, kind of like go in, be really tanky, start the team fight. If you are like not in the point where you can actually do that without getting blown up. So yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's I feel like the biggest problem is when there's like when team is behind, I am behind, and like people start taking my camps. I can't really farm the lane, and there's nowhere like to gang because we are already being pushed, and I don't know what to do.
Yep. Okay. So the general rule I'm gonna give you about playing the game and League of Legends in general is you always want to look out for the unfair fight, even when you are ahead, but especially when you are behind. When you are behind, obviously you cannot take the fair fights. You cannot take the 2v2s, 3v3s, 4v4, 5v5, whatever. So you want to look out for the unfair opportunity. I'm just gonna write that up as a general rule. Always look for the unfair fight. So especially when you are behind, especially when behind, you you don't want to look for the 5v5. You don't want to look to 5v5. You want to make it a 4v5 before the fight even happens. So like pick someone out, for example, or something like that. So that's kind of the main thing you want to do when you are behind. So I think a lot of people, especially in the Elo range, they're like kind of like they think they have this amumu to join jungler, and then they go to the 5v5, they get blown the fuck up, and then they're like, oh my god, I cannot play the game. But yeah, that's exactly it. So you
Yeah.
cannot kind of keep playing the game as if you were even when you are behind. So that's when you really want to think about, always, okay, how can I make this fight unfair? You know, for example, 3v2 on the bot lane, a normal gank. That's an unfair fight, so that's more likely to work. So stuff like that. Always look for the unfair fight. Yeah. Also about this game, actually, what I need to do is I'm gonna need to take a piss. I forgot, so give me 10 seconds. Be right back.
Sure.
Yep. Sorry about that, but okay. So we are moving on to the game. What do you think about this game
Hmm.
at this time in the loading screen?
So when you get a little bit further, I actually, because I use porofessor, I usually check like how comfortable are people on the on their champions. Like for example, when someone has like over, I think the Sivir was like over 100 games. I was thinking like my initial thought was that Sivir and Brand will be stronger against the Jin and Twitch with Brand's poke and Sivir's boomerang.
Hmm.
And like Darius and Shen, I actually don't know because they probably they like from my experience, which might not say anything, but like
Hmm.
it's like 50-50. It's like one of them will be able to get advantage, but it's hard to say for me whom. Zed and Katarina are both assassins, and they are very volatile. So and like Zed technically can't stop Katarina's ult, but he can run away from it easily. The and like for me, but will be problem Evelyn because the assassins and
Yep.
assassins usually like want to invade and fight me while I'm really weak on level 3. Like I'm good at ganking, but I'm not really good at defending myself 1v1.
Hmm. Okay. Yep. Yeah, I mean, as a Momo, you kind of want to play for lanes. You don't want to invade a Evelyn really that much, especially if you're doing it solo. So, yep. Also about the professor, I just really wouldn't do that at all. Like I really don't like people like looking at these stats websites and kind of like predicting, oh, where I want to go. What I want you to start doing instead is just like kind of start analyzing the game without any of those stuff to consider to begin with. So it's like, for example, here we recognized, okay, Shen, he can probably play a bit safe. He's a tanky top laner. I wouldn't probably be worrying about it too much. And then on the bot lane, we can recognize, okay, this guy's a really strong poke, so this Gen and Twitch will probably be pretty low. So maybe I have gank opportunities there. But I really dislike looking at those websites because I like looking at those stats because that kind of makes your decision making really biased. And it doesn't mean
Yeah,
that if you have like a really, for example, a guy with 100 games versus a guy with like 20 games, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't gank the guy with 20 games. For example, if he's
yeah,
in a
of course.
yeah.
It's just like I make it so like he probably knows their champion more than someone who is like it's his first game in the season on this champion.
Yep, yeah, I mean that makes sense, of course, yeah. But then again, we are kind of early in the season. Like some people maybe only started playing now, and some people have played a lot of games, stuff like that. So I just would kind of like uh not think about or rely too much on those stats, but I would think about this game as I'm loading into the game. So for example, here, like okay, bot lane really strong poke, I want to go there. You know? Yep.
You
See.
will see me like checking out the like people. Like for example, I saw that Zed and Katarina, like theoretically, like based on what we said, like Katarina should be beat Zed because like whatever he has more games. But I felt like it's still like even matchup, even with him like not winning single one after 5 games.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. Yep. That's good. Yep. Okay. So yeah, I wrote some things to consider about this pregame. So another thing is you always want to start looking at this exactly when you are loading in this game. So this is when the game starts for junglers, or even before when you make the draft. You can even start thinking about this stuff during the load champ select. But yep. So this is part of the game. This is part of the game when you, as a jungler especially, this is really important because you need to decide where I want to path, how I want to play the game, stuff like that. So yeah, some things I wrote about this game specifically. What you want to think about is double melee matchup top. So obviously there's going to be trading because they will be really close to each other. Double assassin mid lane matchup. Double assassin mid lane matchup. So yep, as you said, they will trade a lot. They will try to all in stuff like that. Maybe you can find a gank there. And bot lane, really good. We recognized we have strong poke, and it will probably get low. So maybe ganks there as well. So yeah. Based on this, like really basic information, I would mostly be looking towards ganking mid and ganking bot, as you said. Yep. Let's see. We get in the game.
So usually how I start is like I most of the time, like I would say 70 to 90% of the time I start from the bot side. So like red on the bottom and blue at the top.
Mhm,
And then I try to get level 3 on this quadrant,
mhm.
and then I decide like if the bot is pushed or if the mid is pushed, and if I can get a gank off on either mid or bottom.
Yep. Okay. So the way I would like you to start thinking about this instead is that So I like this idea, of course, that you do 3 camps and then you look for ganks. That's what I like to do as well. But what I would do instead is I would start top side, and the general rule here is to start pathing towards the lanes you want to gank. Towards the lane you want to gank instead of starting on the side you want to gank them, because again, like we can arrive to a situation, okay, there's no ganks left, so what happens, you end up on the opposite side of the map which you don't want to gank. For example, the Shen, you said you didn't want to gank him, but if there's no play here, then you have to go top, right?
Yeah.
So what you want to do instead is just like recognize which lane you want to path towards. For example, here you want to path towards the bot side for several reasons. So just start top side. So what you can do on top side is just take these 3 camps again, clear the whole quadrant, and then look for gank. You can just run bot here if the gank is there. So yeah, just like start pathing towards the lane you want to gank. So don't default to starting bot side. I know a lot of people, especially in the Zelo, they love to start bot side because two people leashing it's better. But like just kind of we want to start thinking about the game instead of just like defaulting these kind of autopilot options, you know?
So yeah. So don't autopilot.
Yep. Don't default the bot start if you want to gank bot. It's just gonna basically, if you start red side here, for example, and you start batting towards bot, it just gives you way more options, you know? Because you do these 3 camps. For example, you do these blue 3 camps. There's no gank. You go top, and then you have no gank option here because obviously you're on the opposite side of the map, you know. But if you start red side here and you look bot, there's no gank. Okay, I'll just go clear my camps, and then we can look again. Oh, is there a gank? Oh, there's a gank. So now we are here after 4 or 5 camps, you know.
Yeah.
If you want to gank bot, start top side. And yep, just general rule. Also, always clear the whole quadrant. I like that. General, always clear the. Okay.
Yeah, I'm like I think I do it too much, but I sequence a lot, like trying to clear as efficient as possible, and sometimes I get like too greedy with the with clearing, like I
Mhm.
overstay. For like I should have backed off and got my items, but I don't.
Okay. Yep, we'll talk about that as we get there. But yeah, that's obviously, yep, that's good. You have recognized that. That's a really common thing. For example, I just did a review with a plat 4 player who did the exact same mistake. So yeah, it's a really common mistake. It's nothing too important to worry about. It's just something. Obviously, we want to recognize that, and when we have the power spike, it's just recall. That's like the main idea. Okay, with that W, good stuff. Yep, smite is fine.
I actually don't know, but I've read that it's better to smite on the like unless someone gets me the like leashes me really hard
Mhm.
and there is no point. But like usually I smite the buff, so I have level 2 stats to do the second camp.
Yep. Yep. I like smiting the first camp as well. There's nothing wrong with that. The only thing where you wouldn't want to smite it, for example, if this guy isn't even spawned yet and is already like below the 600 the smite range. So that's when you
Yeah,
don't want to smite it. So
yeah,
yep.
yeah. That's what I'm doing usually.
Yep, exactly.
Okay,
Yep, that's good.
cool.
We look some mid, we look some bot, really good. We are panning the camera, awesome. I like that. Checking all lanes actually, that's awesome. And right, that's a good thing. Uh, good thing. Checking all lanes while hitting camps. So another thing you can also utilize in the future is if this kind of like gets complicated, especially when you're playing something like karthus. You know, you have to permanently spam your Q and stuff like that. So what you want to do instead of like checking all these lanes, which is obviously really good, but if it starts getting like overwhelming or it's like to start to really impact your clear, what you can do is you can just like always keep your eye on the minimap. So for example, if these guys get really close, like on top of each other, we can see it on the map, and then we can kind of like click the area to see what's going on. You know.
Oh yeah.
Also, another thing I would do is maybe just make your minimap a bit larger. I use my minimap almost at the almost at max size, almost like double your size. I know it looks a bit goofy at first, but it just really helps you with map awareness. You know, I would really recommend
Okay.
doing that.
Okay, so this is where I just like Now I'm looking like the bottom is pushed, the middle is kind of pushed, so I'm just gonna go into Wraiths.
Yep, that's really good. But yeah, so this is exactly what I warned you about.
Yeah.
So we want to gank the bot, but then there's no gank, so might as well. But yeah, it's really good. We recognize there's no gank, so we just go for the braids and keep clearing. Yep, good stuff.
I basically like I clear the Wraiths and I see the Darius is pushed really far, so I usually I would clear, but like I see his like this is a gank opportunity, so I immediately go for it, and
Awesome.
he's also harassing under the tower, so there is like big chance for us to actually succeed.
Awesome. I love this. Seeing enemy later, being overextended. This is actually really good stuff. So the really good important thing here is that you are not like two. So yeah. So what I really like about this is two things. We do wolves. We were thinking about the bot gank at the start of the game. There's no bot gank, so we're like, okay, let's just keep clearing. And then again, like this is really good. We are reacting to the map. So this is really fucking good stuff. This is not something I normally see at this level of play, but this is obviously really fucking good. So this is something you want to keep doing in a game. So it's like keep looking at the map, keep kind of reacting to the information. So this is really good. Seeing enemy laner being overextended, uh, pushing on the turret, very easy to gank. Also, wait a second. I wanna talk a bit more about this first buff. Did we see where Evelyn started based on leash? Yeah, so probably bot side. So this is another thing, of
Yeah, it's
course.
like what when they don't come like around 150, then it's surely like starting bot side.
Yep. Check where enemy jungler got leashed. So yeah. So the other thing here is okay. So let's think about what does Evelyn players love to do. How do you think an Evelyn player clears their jungle?
Well, I think as an Evelyn, you should full clear to get the 6 as fast as possible.
Yep. Yep, exactly. So, what Evelyn players love to do, they love to full clear. What does tank junglers have to do? They love to gank before the full clear jungler actually gets to clear their gank or to clear their jungle. And because what the full clear junglers do is they do their clear and then they're like, okay, now I can look for ganks. So basically, the difference here is that we look for ganks before the Evelyn has even finished her clear. So the really good thing about this is that we probably kind of do it unintentionally, but again, we could be expecting that we are obviously matching the uh, Evelyn to the top side of the map because she got placed on the same side as us. But the important thing here is that Evelyn wants a full clear. And what happens when we drop the clear early to go gank is that Evelyn will still be on her camps while we are already ganking. So Evelyn has no kind of like she cannot really like come stop us, She cannot counter gank us or anything like that. So that's another thing I really like about this gank. So yep, Evelyn is a full clear jungler. We gank on 4 to 5 camps. We gank after 4 to 5 camps. We actually beat her to the gank. We can gank before she is ready to gank at all. Put this a bit further up. So yeah, this obviously really good. So far, actually, fucking amazing stuff. A bit here. Checking all lanes while hitting camps. So yep, let's see how the gank goes. So, yep. So this is good for several reasons. First of all, the pushed wave. You said pushed wave. They are really overextended. They have to run all this way back to the turret if they want to get to safety. Awesome. And the other thing is, Evelyn is still clearing their camps while we are already ganking. She is not ready to gank. Awesome. This is a really good gank. I love that. Perfect. Yep. And then it's a straight back to camps. Yeah, camps. Yep. Red buff.
Usually I try to get like 1100, so I have the shoes and blasting one for the demonic. I'm
Hmm.
like I used to do the giant's belt and shoes, Yeah, so I see Evelyn going for the. I made a mistake over here because I see Evelyn is going for the Krag. I can't contest it, and then I just stopped my recall to get like some XP from the middle because I see Zed is coming, so I don't want to mess with the wave, like clear it or anything. He's like already died, so
Yep.
don't want to like get him further behind. But I still like interrupt my recall to get closer and get some exp like
Yeah,
for no reason.
no, it's fine. I don't see an issue here. Yep, I actually like it that you think about the minion XP here being minions here dying, so you want to kind of get the XP while the Zed is not even able to get the XP. So I actually like this. It's good. I mean, I'm pushing on turret is the gank stuff. But yeah, about this gold usage here. When you recall with 1,000 gold, so you were thinking about doing plastin wand and boots. What I would just do here is you have basically two options. You can either buy plastin wand just straight up and just not spend all the gold you have, or you can just buy the lucidity boots here. But
Oh,
in
really?
in general, like yeah. So I don't know if you actually play lucidity boots on Amumu, do
Yeah,
you?
I don't. I actually never buy them, to
Okay,
be honest.
so you build tabis. Okay.
Yeah, I do. Depends on if they have a lot of CC. I do Mercury, and
Mhm.
if they have like annoying auto attackers like Jin and Wind Brothers and stuff
Yep.
like that, like Master Yi, I usually do Tabby.
Yep, so you like to build defensive boots. Yep, that's fine. But basically, the current meta for tank junglers is they kind of want to rush the lucidity boots because basically it gives you, first of all, it gives you more CC basically, and it gives you just way more damage. And also the other thing is like, when comparing lucidity boots to these kind of tank junglers, they kind of like, because tank junglers have really high base damage. We don't need to build damage to be able to deal damage, you know. So that's kind of the idea behind tank players wanting to buy the lucidity boots a lot of the time.
Okay,
But yeah, I would just
sure.
get the plastic
I
one
will
because
surely try it in that case.
yeah, because in general, so what I want to talk about this buy here is that we end up buying ruby crystal, we end up buying boots. Then you think about like what does this really do for us? Like we get 150 health, we get some movement speed. Like it's we are not buying anything really meaningful. Like we are buying 150 HP. It's not really gonna help us when you compare it to like for example we could buy Plastin 1 for a lot of more damage or the lucidity boost for again more damage, lower cooldown, stuff like that. So
I always try to get the boots. I might be overvaluing the movement, but like I feel like I can a get faster to the gangs, b clear faster because I move between camps faster, and c it's like it's easier for me to land the stance.
yep, yep, and that's another thing why tank junglers especially want to just first buy the lucidity boots. They get to clear
Yeah.
faster, they get to move faster, stuff like that. You know, the tier two
Okay.
boots obviously give you more movement speed and stuff like that. So that's something you can consider. But if you want to build defensive boots, also I probably wouldn't really be too worried about CC when I'm playing Amumu. Like uh, you have such a good cap close anyway. It's not like that you are the one who's getting CC stunned. It's gonna be the carries in your team who people want to target with their CC. You know, if that makes sense. So
Well,
yeah,
in that case, I think the like I might start like trying the cooldown boots uh and the tabby when they have like a lot of auto attacker.
yep. Tabas are obviously really good into yeah, as you said, the Wind Brothers, Jin, you know, basic ADC stuff. Yep. So for example, this game Tabas actually would be really good because they have so many AAs. As you clear
Mhm.
faster, move the ganks faster, offer more CC. So it's really good. Like Lucidity boots are a really big power spike for tank junglers especially.
Yeah, I knew that it's really good on Zac, but
Yep.
I yeah I didn't think about buying them on MMO.
Yep. Actually, I want to check now. Do your movement players normally do that? Because I would assume so. Yeah, they do rush their Lucidity boots pretty much all games.
This is on support.
Oh, these supports? Okay. Oh, they do actually buy Tabais a lot. Hmm. Oh, I actually see the pick rate for the boots. Is that important? Okay, it's like a 60. Yeah, I mean, they kind of buy everything. Another put option as well is the sock shoes, because again, that kind of amplifies your damage. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, usually I wouldn't really worry about buying mech threads. Like on a Mumu, I just and CC is not a problem to
Well,
you as a Mumu
like I
so
also
much.
have the crowd control in the runes, so
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So yeah, yeah. So that's basically, yeah. That's another thing you can do is like when you pick tenacity from the precision runes, you could just skip mechs completely. That's what a lot of people do. For example, they have a lot of CC, but they also have the wind protest. So you're like, how do I counter this? So what you do is you take tenacity from runes, and then it's just by tab eyes. Okay, there's some shenanigans going down in bottom lane.
I
Back.
I saw Katarina being here, and so I got worried about the bot, and then like uh she retreated, so I went back. I wanted to like stay a little bit, but I saw them getting like pushed out of the lane, so I didn't think this is like a good opportunity.
Yep.
But like yeah, and in here I just I don't know. I was like I saw that they are kind of low, so I might be able to get something, even if not.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I
Yep.
end up chasing Jin for like I don't want to waste my flash on this because the chance of me killing him is very low.
Yep.
So I just like get him off the turret.
Yeah, because again we have built 0 damage. We have 100 extra health and some move speed. But what you can look out for here, actually, I want to talk about a bit early in the game when we first looked at this lane. Is for example what we saw on the top lane gank. You were like, okay, this guy is really pushed up. It's easy for me to gank, you know. So that's obviously a really good like recognition. But what we also see here is we look at the bot lane, and it's kind of the opposite. You know, they are in a bad situation right now, if that makes sense. So what you can kind of do as a jungler, you don't always need to like go to lane to gank them. You can kind of also anti-gank, you know? So you can deny the gank. So you could help them, for example, you could go here in the splash and kind of help them shove or stuff like that. So that's gonna save them or like kind of like help them stay alive from getting ganked by, for example, Katarina here or um, even the Evelyn. So yeah, just something to kind of like add. I wouldn't worry about it too much. So I'm probably gonna add it to the end. So it's not that important to think about at the moment. We have a lot more important stuff to think about first. But like that's something you can consider. Anti gank as jungler. So think of like you if you were the enemy jungler, what would you want to do? You would want to gank this lane because they are like all the way here. Oh, obviously not right now, but like they have to overextend to touch this wave. You know,
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk about it more at the end maybe. Yep. All this good stuff. We reacted the map again. Awesome. Yep. One thing about this is that this Plasgon right here spawns at 5 minutes. So what you could look out for here, instead of trying to go for this kind of desperate fry brush gank, is we could take the Plasgon here. So this is really good. We let the Twitch actually recalls here. So what we could do is we could take the Plasgon and we could kind of arrive from behind to kill the Jhin. So that's something you can consider. The Plasgon star. I don't know how to call these Plasgons. There's a Plasgon behind the
Yeah,
dragon here.
I know which one you're talking about.
Okay,
I
okay.
I use it like a lot, but this one was broken.
Mm,
I
okay,
think at some point, like you see me looking there, and I think it was
okay,
I think it was broken.
okay.
I think it like Katarina when she ganked, she broke it or something. I'm not 100% on that, but
Yeah, that
yeah,
actually might be true.
I usually
I don't think we see it at
I
all
usually
here.
use it because even if they don't like if they don't use ward in brush, then the blast cone won't show me on the
Yeah,
uh
yeah. It's kind of too late for this Jhin to kind of run away when you like hop out here and you're like, ooh, oh, Amumu is already here. Fuck, what do I do? You know, he has no escape.
yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, so Zed, I'm like pinging him to go away because he's low HP and like he gets ganked by Twitch and dies.
mhm.
I see like the Twitch is a menace and going everywhere.
Yeah, that's what they love to do.
It's really hard to deal with those like supports that just ditch the bot lane and
Yeah, that's what they love to do always. Yeah, switch bots. But yep, what we do here is good. Holding the wave from down to turret. So basically, we don't want to lose gold to the turret. So yep,
Yeah.
this is really good. We got the turret, so we don't lose gold to the turret. Awesome. They're kind of chasing this guy really far here. Maybe we did we miss that?
Yeah, I think I take a turn here because I see like there's nothing for me to do top. Shen is like pushing outwards, and I think I saw like Darius retreating. So I go for my blue, and actually this is a lucky thing, but in here we'll catch Evelyn when she tries to get Brand.
Mm, okay. Okay, so a few important things about this
Yeah,
situation
I
here.
miss smited here.
No, I don't really care about smite, but what I want to talk about here is that we kind of always want to look at the timer on the time, and the important
Mhm.
thing here is to note that solo laners hit level 6 at
Around 8 minutes.
6 minutes.
Oh really?
Yep. So this is really important when you have someone like Shen, for example. So if we actually knew that we have a Shen ult available here, we could have seen these guys all the way here. Instead, he's coming out of base. We have Shen ult. We can kind of like go look for this, you know? We can kind of fight for this. But the important thing here is to know that solo laners hit level 6 at 6 minutes. So obviously, really important when we have global ultimates such as Shen. Really important when we have global ultimates such as Shen, GB, stuff like that. So the 6 minute mark with someone like Shen on GP, for example, it allows you to make plays on the opposite side of the map, and the Shen is able to help you. You know, so that's something you want to consider.
I really kind of don't like depending on people like that. When I see stuff and I ping his ult, that's fine. But like going in thinking like that he will help, or like for example, maybe Darius gets and drags him in, so he can't actually ult on me and stuff
Yep.
like that. Like there's many factors, and I have problems sometimes. Like when I go for something,
Mhm.
uh, like to pay attention to also like if the other laner can help me.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. But I mean, general rule, you want to think about the 6 minutes. Okay, Soloness get level 6. So obviously, if the enemy laner, for example, had Shen, you would have to consider that when you're going for aggressive plays or ganks. So still, I know that you don't like relying on teammates, and I know people in the silo are the most aware people in the game. But like, still, you kind of have to, especially if the Shen is on the enemy team, you kind of have to expect the worst, you know.
Yeah.
So what you don't want to happen when you have these important cooldowns in the team is like you go fighting and then you're like, oh, let's go, I get saved by Shen. You want to kind of like know that it should be happening here, you know? And that's especially important as you start climbing forward. Because for example, when we talk about plat level Shens, they are way more consistent with using their ult when it needs to be used, you know? And what you can even do is like for example, we are in the mid lane, everyone is fighting in your jungle. You can like even type in chat, okay, Shen, look out. Shen, look
Well,
out. Ult.
I actually don't have chat on
Okay, well that's obviously better. But yeah, okay, but yeah. I mean, in
because
general, think about the
I feel like I get tilted more than even like the like using the information that it brings,
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah,
people like
yeah.
especially to junglers, people are
Yep,
really
exactly.
mean. And
Yeah, I agree with that
I
100%.
prefer like it also like when someone is flaming me, I feel like I don't want to gank them, so I don't want to be like even when they like ping me 10 times, I'm less annoyed, and I will still like work around them like more than if someone like calls me names.
Yep, yep. Yeah, I mean, especially as a jungler, yeah, I agree with that, and I actually we could have talked about it at the start of the game, but yeah, I really agree with you here. But yeah, also another thing we want to note here, something a lot of people miss. We are one camp of 6, so this is another thing you want to look out for always, always, especially when we are arriving at the 7-8 minute mark. It's a time when we, as junglers, usually start hitting 6. So 16, keep an eye out on XP. One camp of 6. So this is especially important if you, for example, went hitting this blue, for example, you were looking for a place in the mid lane or in the bot lane or like ganking top or whatever. Always when you're one camp of 6, always prioritize 6. One camp of 6. Prioritize hitting 6. So the especially important thing is that I talk about this all the time. Is that again, solo lane hit level 6 minutes. You won't be normally level 6 as jungler. But the other thing is bot lane has actually hit level 6 around 8 to 9 minutes. So what you can do with these kind of ult heavy junglers such as Wukong, Sejuani, Amumu, whatever you want to play, even Karthus, um, you can look to gank bot because they won't have 6 by the time you have 6. So you can actually roll up here, you can ult them, and they don't even have that ability unlocked yet. So that's something you want to consider when playing these junglers. Given a one cam of 6 prior to hitting 6. Most of the time, you can gank bot lane with your ult before they even have theirs. So that's like a usual power spike junglers have over bot lane. Hitting level 6. The enemy bot lane won't usually be level 6 by the time. Yep. So again, like we get 6 here, I wouldn't worry about this too much because again, we have 6, we have this immediate power spike, we want to utilize that, you know? So I would maybe looking forward to the spot gank situation here, but I wouldn't think too much about this crump. But again, I think we kind of missed that we are one cap of 6, we're actually going to hit 6 here, and then we kind of didn't look for that. So obviously always look out for, look to utilize level 6 power spike. And that also comes back to the stuff we talked about at the start of the game. What did we talk about? Yeah, the unfair fight thing. So when you have ult and you go gank bot, that immediately makes it an unfair fight because they don't have ult yet. So again,
Yeah.
look for the unfair fight. Oh wait, oh, the Twitch
Yeah,
actually got the.
he stole
Oh,
it,
okay,
and
okay.
then
Wow, this
I
guy's
get
a
it back.
yeah, this guy's a menace. Holy shit.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, in here, like I wanted to maybe heal myself on the grump and maybe do
Yeah.
something, but then I got scared by the ult and I just resigned.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't go for this. So the biggest thing here is that you know how in the game we want to recall on the item power spikes, but we also sometimes when we are this low, we also want to just recall for the resource, which is our HP bar. For example, if there's a really good gank here happening in bot lane, you can't even do anything. Or if the gank is even here 30 seconds later, you can't do anything because you're so low, like you can't impact the game, you know?
Yeah.
Recall for HP, you can't impact the map even if you get the camp.
Yeah, so now I go back. Brand dies to Eve. I think I want to full clear and make it into dragon. Like Brand is coming back, so
Yep.
I want to use that level 6 as fast as possible. I know that they are ahead. It's like Jin is level 7, I think, at that point. But I feel like this is still doable. And here Brand gets like
Oh,
ambushed.
wow,
So
that's a cheeky
I I
gank.
just I just I just use I just use ult here to save him and get the shutdown. And yeah, then I was just like not thinking, and I just started clearing back up because Brand was going back, and I had no ult, so I
Yep, no,
felt
this is
like
good. This is really good.
that gank would not work anymore on
Yep,
the bottom.
exactly. Yep, this is really good. So we used our ult. We gotta recognize. Okay, we were thinking about the bot play again. We had to use ult to save this guy. Obviously, we get a kill. Yep, this is good. Just don't go ganking this guy because obviously again, Brand is no help to you and you have no ult. So yep, this is really good. Just keep clearing your camps.
Yeah, and
So
now that like I feel like Shen is strong, and so I think I went for the herald here.
okay, let's see. Yep, I mean Shen can obviously ult you. Mid gets ganked though, so it's
Twitch is
unfortunate.
killing Zed on mid again, so I'm like I felt like safe being with Shen here, and especially when he came. So I
Yep,
felt like this is we take it, and we
yep,
can advance something with the like plate gold.
yep. So another thing,
So
a small thing here is that when you pick up Herald and you have your Rackle ready, you're in the river, just pop your oracle before you even pick this eye up. So you can kind of like sweep for boards as you leave the area, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Oracle. Basically, when you pick this herald, obviously, then you can use the sweeper, right? Yep.
Yeah, and then I see like Darius is overextended, and I
Yep. Good.
make. I'm pretty
Come back.
sure I make a mistake here. I underestimate him,
Hmm.
and I die.
Yep. I mean, with this champion, how I like to approach this matchup or anything when I have a dash is I want to have at least one of my dash when he starts using his Q. So obviously we wouldn't get hit by the hit by the Q2, and he doesn't get healed. So for example here, yeah, we were stunned by the E, but
Like
here I would just
Shen
save
had
my
ultimate, but yeah,
yeah, I would just save my next Q. I would save this Q for when he tries to Q you again. So obviously he doesn't get healed and you don't get damaged as much.
yeah,
So
yeah,
here we
yeah.
actually get hit by the Q again. So yeah, that's why we failed the gank. I was gonna write anything about that, but this is something
And
you
then
want to
I
consider.
see like Katarina is approaching, so I'm pinging Shen, but he's fine.
Yep, he's fine. Okay, so now again we have ult up. What I like to do is I like to play for this bot lane. Again, they have to really squishy champs with no mobility. So yep, just target the champions who you can. So, yep, and looking towards bot.
Yeah, I also see that the dragon is still up. Evelyn didn't do it, so I really want to get like the bottom prio. I really like playing for the dragons,
Mhm.
especially like when the team is losing. I even like sometimes sacrifice myself to steal it because I feel like the herald doesn't give much to the losing team, but the like having the advantage on the dragons or like even delaying the soul is like worth a lot.
Mhm. Yep, and especially in this elo, yeah, I think junglers really love Drake, so I have not, yeah, nothing wrong with that. But yep, you're right. A losing team doesn't really benefit that much from having Rift Herald, but the winning team, on the other hand, they can really utilize that to like, kind of blow up the game. But yep,
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, Herald is still good to have. What you want to do is Herald, you want to pop it before the place drop, so that's another thing we want to look out for. Use Herald before the place drop. So the first Herald is what we call the plate Herald. That's what we want to use it for.
yeah, like I really like it to like get someone like even if they're like behind. So for example, here I hover over the bot line because I see that the Evelyn was here.
Yep.
And like they were getting harassed, so I was trying to cover them, but then like Brand just shows the wave.
Hmm.
Yeah, and so we get enemies low, so I start the dragon, and
Yep.
then I'm like, so I will get the dragon, and then I will get Herald to the bottom.
Yep. Really
Yeah,
good.
so we get Twitch, then I catch Jin, so I just use my ult, not wanting him to
Yep, that was a really
get
good team
away.
fight. Yep. Just instantly collapse on the target who tries to stop us, and then we move on to the next target.
Yeah,
Yep,
I
really
also
good.
try to use the rule that it's like, so like Jin was coming a little bit earlier, but so I first try to finish off Twitch because we are like 2 or 3 against one Twitch, and then
Mhm.
then we can move to the
Yes,
next target. So it's like
exactly.
just like you said, it's like the unfair fight. So it's like
Yep, exactly. This
we
is really good.
all 3 hitting on one, and then we go to the next, and even if the someone else escapes, it's better because that Twitch could have killed someone, right?
Exactly. Yep, this is really good stuff. So actually, I'm surprised you even think about this because a lot of the time people just like target whoever they see. But yeah, this is really good because the important thing here is that we see that Brand is all the way here. Zed is already a lot closer. This guy always comes here. So yeah, we always want to get this guy because he's easier for our team to collapse. So this is really important when you especially in around objectives, people love to do that. They kind of like approach from everywhere. So you always want to collapse one side. So yeah, that's really important. Yep, good stuff. If it's the track, yep, place it dropping soon. We put the herald. Let's see. Okay. So one thing about herald is just when you have this opportunity, like we want to hit this turret anyway, right? But it's full HP. So so the thing about using herald is that especially on these plated turrets. So basically it goes different when the plates drop. But the less plates the turret has, the more armor it's gonna have. So you want to drop herald as late as possible.
Okay. Okay, I didn't know that.
So this only applies to plated
More like
turrets.
a finisher to the turret.
Yep, exactly. So
If we like in this kind of situation where we like there's a lot of us and there's big creep waves, so we can totally hit it.
yep,
Okay.
and the enemy team is literally dead. So yeah. So when you want to drop it as you want to start summoning it when you are like halfway done with the turret, so 2.5 plates. That's how you kill turret. So you can see, we can actually see here. So we click the turret, 15 armor. We hit the turret, we get one
Mhm.
plate, 145 armor. This guy's gonna charge
Oh yeah.
275 armor. And we get one more plate, 400 armor. You know, so it gets a lot harder the further down you go towards the turret. But the thing with Herald is that Herald deals true damage. So Herald doesn't give a shit about these resistances, but you guys do. So we can see, for example, we
Okay.
hit 115 there. Now we are starting to hit 20 damage per fucking auto attack. You know, so you can see how this takes us a lot longer than it should. So yeah, just general
Okay,
rule.
that's actually a great tip.
Yeah, just drop
Yeah,
it late as
and
possible.
it just ends in tragedy.
Yep. Yeah, but we don't even get the turret. We would get the turret here if we used it like that. But you can see how it just delays us so much because how the turrets work in this
Yeah,
game.
yeah, yeah.
3.5 plates. We kill turret. Is while hitting. So the actual charge does like I think the charge herald charge is 1.75 plates. Yep. Okay. Um, we're actually gonna run out of time here, but do you have
Yeah.
any more questions about this game or something you want to look at before we end the session?
No, no, no. Like I said, like this was a win, and I didn't like get behind in that game. So like it wasn't really that great of a match, but like to review. But
I think there's
I
a lot of stuff we learned here.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Uh,
of course. But like I feel I really I really want to know what to do like when I'm behind. Like what can I do like what opportunities like the unfair fights. So yeah, like
yeah,
that surely will let me like help think of like
yeah,
ways to get back.
yeah. I mean that's like the basic philosophy behind like winning fights when you are behind. So basically, some things you can think of like having an unfair fight. So we can recognize having the fight being unfair when we have more numbers than the enemy team has, more players available. For example, what we did with the Twitch here, that was an unfair fight because we were able to, so many people were able to target him before the Jin was even able to help. So that's obviously already an unfair fight. We have more people hitting the one guy. And then there's like thing to think about, for example, ultimates, for example. Let's say, for example, what you did here when we caught the Evelyn with our first ultimate. It was way earlier than this. It was here. So we fight this guy. Now, even though we have the numbers, uh, this 3v2 really isn't that unfair fight because again, we don't have ult. We just used our ult, a really important cooldown. This guy doesn't have health, so yeah. So the reason why we don't want to take this fight, even though it's kind of like it seems unfair because we have more numbers and more players available, uh, ultimates, health, stuff like that. You know, so it's a lot of stuff you have to kind of consider when you're losing and you want to get back to the game. But the general rule is to when you are losing, you want to kind of like always go for the unfair fights. You always want to have more players like hitting those guys and like stuff like that. So the difference which happens when we are in a fair fight, kind of like, or when we are in a game which we are winning, or when we are even, is that's when it's easy to take those 5v5 fights. You know, we can take the fair fights. You know, when we are ahead,
Yeah.
we can take the fair fights. So regarding jungle matchups specifically, the general rule is when ahead, you want to match the enemy jungler to deny them to create scenarios where they can take unfair fights. To deny the enemy team to take unfair fights. And when behind, we want to avoid the enemy jungler so we can make the unfair fights, you know?
Yeah.
So that's basically, that, again, there's something which will come more clear to you as you progress and like improve your jungle tracking and stuff like that. Like where to know where the enemy jungler is. For example, at someone like diamond level or above, like it's a lot easier for them to track the jungler. But obviously, that's something you want to you just want to start to work out. For example, we can take the starting clear here as a clear example. This is when you want to start tracking. See who leashed. So see who leashed, so you know where they are pathing. You know, stuff like that. Also, another time, so this is the like the easiest time to track the enemy jungler. But another time which happens is around 7 minutes. 7 minutes. What I like to use as default baseline is when your when you first buff spawns the second time. For example, this blue buff. This happens around 7 minutes. Uh, so again, we can kind of go back to the level one. What happened level one? Oh, the Evelyn started red buff. So when your blue buff starts, the Evelyn red buff starts, and what that usually means, the Evelyn will usually be on the red side here. So that's another thing you can
Okay.
utilize as kind of like a tracking tool. Avoid enemy jungler to create unfair fights. Use first buff spawn as a default baseline for where the enemy jungler is. Yep. Yep, that's pretty much all for this session. I'm gonna send you these notes right now, and then I'm gonna upload the VOD to YouTube, and I'm gonna send it to you as well. And what I want you to do is you want to look back at the VOD and just kind of like watch it over again, because right now it's just a lot of information. Like basically how you want to use this VOD or this session is that you watch it back and you kind of like take things a bit more slowly. For example, you can look, for example, half through this VOD, and you're like, okay, and then you can like go play your games, kind of try to start applying all this stuff. And what you can do after is then you can like come back and watch the rest of the session, and then again like kind of like take it slowly. And because it's just so much information. It's like 1 hour, it's just like boom, 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 boom. So you want to go back to it and kind of like take the stuff in with kind of more peacefully, you know?
Baby steps.
Yeah, baby steps, exactly. So yep. Good thing, but yep, a lot of good stuff this match, and I think there's a lot of stuff you can keep doing more. So for example, the stuff we talked about at the early game was uh, ganking before the Evelyn, the full clear jungler, is able to even gank, because we drop some camps, so that's really important, obviously. And what else would I highlight here? So yeah, maybe the Herald charge is really important when you start using Herald. I think Herald is really good. Actually, myself, I prioritize Herald over early Drakes. But if you want to play for the Drakes, that's fine. But of course, you will run out. You will run into situations where you want to do the Drake. I mean the Herald. So that's how you want to
Yeah.
apply this. So
Yeah.
just
I
drop it
mean,
as late as
it's
possible.
not like I prioritize it. It's just like I really want to get team
Yeah,
at least like one or
get
two
something.
drakes.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Okay, I
Uh,
have the Drakes. Yep.
one more question, if I may.
Yep.
What do I do like with like amumu, for example, when facing an invading jungler like Kindred who wants to like fight me at level 3? Like, do I just clear the other way and try to like avoid getting grumps and stuff? Uh,
Uh, I don't have a
I mean,
moment.
not the grumps, the crabs.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you what I do. So basically, how I want to deny invades is by using wards. So I'm gonna show you a few wards here. I use level 1
Mm-hmm.
if I'm against invaders. So there's basically 2 wards. So, but yeah, especially when you start or when you play against an invading jungler, you usually don't want to level 1 start with Oracle. I mean, you can do it after you recall, but not like level 1. So when you leave base, for example, enemy skin threat, you buy your stuff. You don't want to do this and then just go here and just wait for your camp to spawn. So what you want to do instead is you get this. So this is the best ward I actually use a lot of the time. So I play junglers who like to go for Oracle recall. So what I like to do is I run all the way here from base, and I place this ward. like right out when I get the base. So what this does, it denies the invade, like late invade from the enemy team. For example, they have Nautilus or something like that. Or for example, this is really good against Kane players who like to cheese your Raptors, right? So Kane players go here and then they jump here, kind of jump up the wall here. They jump here, but then you would actually see them on this ward. So this is kind of like this is the ward you use against invading comps. For example, when you are afraid of like Nautilus or Blitzcrank or something like that. Another thing how you can utilize this is that if you are afraid of the Tribrush invade, for example, you run here, you place this ward. What you do now is I wouldn't like to go into this Tribrush again because I'm afraid of the hooks. So what I do instead is I run all the way down here and I start standing around here. So again, we cut off this invade from here with this ward we placed,
Oh
and
yeah,
then we
true.
cut off this invade. But we are not standing in the brush because people kind of started to expect the brush checking here. So what I do instead is they kind of run out from here because they always invade this way. They don't want to invade walking from Traverse to red because obviously that's bad because then they get seen like from so far away. So what they do is they run out the way bottom here and they come out of here. So that's Blitzcrank. You see him right here. Then it's just okay. I'll just leave. You know. So these are the two ways you can do against invading comps. Um, Against invading junglers, for example, use that red side. I still ward this brush, but I ward it way later. So this comes. So I would drop this ward at 110, or yeah, 110 or 115, and then I would just run away and use this blast cone, and I get here in time and start my buff. But the thing is, you don't get to recall and get your oracle when you do this. But this causes you so you can clear these three camps here, the blue side, and once you start walking towards here, you can take your raptors here. And if they do like three camp invade, three camp red side, and they come running towards here, you're gonna see them on this ward. Also, next
Okay.
patch the ward duration is gonna get buffed, so you can actually place this a bit later. But if you're afraid of like getting invaded on your red buff when you start blue, just place this ward at 110 and start running towards your red blue.
Okay.
Also, another thing you can do is when they have Kindred Graves, Nidalee, and you're afraid of when you start blue and you're afraid of the Grump invade. So how you want to counter that is you walk here at the start of the game and you place the ward here. So again,
Mm-hmm.
what we counter with that, we counter this invade to this brush, kind of like if they want to walk this brush from this way. But what they usually do is they take red and they jump here and they start walking here and they want to invade your Grump, so you will see them here as well. So this is against level 2 invade, this is against level 3 and level 1 invade.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, next patch they're gonna actually buff the duration the early game wards stay alive, I think. So, but yeah, the general rule: this place, or this ward to protect you from level 3 invades, placed at 110. That's probably gonna type it here as well. Free camp invade 110. So if you also think about if you want red side start and you're afraid of getting invaded here, that's a bit more difficult. Blue invades are a lot harder to be protected from than red side invades. But what you can do is, if for example hit these wolves and then you start moving towards blue here. What I usually like to do is I just ward this brush right here.
Mm-hmm.
So that again protects you from this invade, but it doesn't protect you from this invade. But blue side is kind of like it's a lot harder to defend from. Another thing you can do is what I like to do is if I'm afraid of this invade being happening after wolves, I take this blast gun over here and jump. So they actually kind of use the blast gun to jump over me. Another thing you can do is you can kind of like cut the camp back here, and again you can ward here, but it doesn't really show this invade anyway. So I don't really care about that ward. Usually it's this ward or ward around here if I'm afraid of the other side. But in general, blue side is a lot harder to defend. But yeah, that's
All right.
that's a that's a bit of like the early game stuff I like to do regarding
All right.
wards.
Well, thank you very much for especially for the overtime.
Yep, no problem. I mean, it's just whatever. Uh, yep. I mean, yeah, these reviews are kind of like it's a 1 hour session, but it's still like, especially for junglers, the early games are so fucking important that most of the time, most of the session is spent talking about the early game and pre-game and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So yeah, we don't always get to cover the whole WOD, but yep, I think there's a lot of stuff to help you keep improving and to get better at the game. So yep.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yep. Thanks for bringing the review, and yeah, I'm gonna come back to